So after what happened in Amsterdam, the pogrom, my thoughts just go to Rembrandt. And I want to look at a painting that has no real source in the Bible. This is Samuel, who seems to be taking instruction. This caption, Samuel's prayer testing, that's made up. Um, she was never in the temple of Samuel. So there is this image of Hannah, and Hannah is in the second book of Samuel. And she is here teaching reading. I want to go back to her book, that book which she has her fingers inside of. She's holding the pages open. We'll come back to that. So this painting, is this a Christian painting or a Jewish painting? Now, the answer is it is actually a Christian painting because it's a Christian painter. But this Christian painter is able to tolerate difference, and he knows that difference is manifested always in the Jew. You know that Rembrandt's Amsterdam was called Mokum, and locals still refer to it as the place in Hebrew, sometimes God. Here in this image, how do we know it's Christian? Well, there's a crucifix in the middle of it. Oh, I might have said, however, oh, really, that's the staff that Aaron raises up at the plague. Or I might have said, oh, you see the serpent twining. And of course, that takes it out of Jewish history exclusively. And you see, even with all that said, this seems to be the Ten Commandments. So why is Rembrandt mixing messages? And further, what about this image here? That's all Greek, or it's a cherub from the temple. Now, this is a Christian image. I think this is probably maybe something that happened earlier, Ellie presenting the baby to the temple. There's always stuff going on in Rembrandt. But what I want to emphasize here is Hannah is the center of the painting. As a person who studies John Milton, I will say that Milton never meets a Jew. He never did meet one, but he never thinks of the Jew without turning him into Jesus. So Yitzchak is Jesus, Joshua is Jesus, etc., etc. That's why Milton is not the father of, or not the influence that creates modern liberalism. It's Rembrandt, because Rembrandt takes the Jew, Anna, and she is at the center, and you feel her substance and her weight. And you have to look at Rembrandt for a long time, but you see also her white clothing and her white face is almost something like she's emerging from the blackness around her. It's almost like the blackness around her is threatening to swallow her. Rembrandt is cool that way. You always see the things. And let's get back to the book here. What is that book? So some people might say, well, it's the book of Samuel where she appears. Or you might say that this is really the Jewish Bible. This is the Tanakh. And Anna knows, and Rembrandt knows that everything that we see in this picture is because of that book. And that's why Hannah holds her hands, holds her fingers inside of the pages of the book. The Old Testament, which other Christians had closed permanently or appropriated entirely, it's open. It creates Hannah's presence, and it also creates Rembrandt's presence. So now in Amsterdam, it's the Jew that's being targeted. And do know this, Rembrandt understood that if you don't tolerate the Jewish other, you're not going to end up tolerating any other. This is a tragedy for the Jews, and it will be a tragedy for the city of Amsterdam and Europe. But Rembrandt, in the 17th century, he got it. All of these things come together. You still have the classical influence. You still have the presence of the Jew. And not only that, but Hannah is the origin of all. Keep that in mind. Save, save the liberalism that has been put under attack. I say I'm a liberal still, and I mean that from the point of view that I'm a 17th century Lockean or Rembrandtian liberal. Liberal means we tolerate other people. Liberal also means that we don't go for broke. We don't think we're right about everything, because once you do that, whether you're on the left or the right, you're no longer thinking. You're turning into a group of these fanatical, pre-liberal, hordes of believers who are willing to die and will die for their beliefs. So we need to save liberalism. And a great way of doing that is going back to Rembrandt.